پرزیدنت خورخه فرناندو کیروگا رامیرز که در سالهای 2001 تا 2002 به عنوان 62مین رئیس جمهور بولیوی خدمت کرده است، یکی از چهره‌های برجسته بولیوی است. او پیش از ریاست جمهوریش عنوان جوانترین معاون رئیس جمهور در کشورش را داشت. وی در سالهای 2019 تا 2020 سخنگوی بین‌المللی بولیوی در رسیدگی به موارد نقض حقوق بشر توسط دولت قبلی بولیوی بود. خورخه فرناندو فارغ التحصیل مهندسی صنایع از دانشگاه تگزاس است، در حالی که کارشناسی ارشد خود را هم در رشته مدیریت بازرگانی از دانشگاه سنت ادوارد گرفت. خورخه فرناندو همچنین در پست وزیر دارایی بولیوی سابقه کار دارد. فعالیت‌های سیاسی او در بستر جریان‌های سوسیال دموکراتیک جریان داشته است. او همچنین یک مشاور شناخته شده بانک جهانی و صندوق بین‌المللی پول است و در گفتگوهای بین‌المللی اقتصادی غرب با چین پیوسته شرکت داشته است. پرزیدنت خورخه فرناندو کیروگا رامیرز یکی از 137 رهبر جهان است که به حمایت از برنامه 10 ماده‌ای خانم مریم رجوی برخاست و در گردهمای ایران آزاد 1403 سخنرانی کرد.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Mariam Rajavi, people, friends of the NCRI, former leaders, parliamentarians, and to all the future leaders, parliamentarians, and presidents of our free Iran in the back, I salute you from here.
ما می‌خواهیم از کسانی که به آزادی متعهد هستند حمایت کنیم که شما آنها را جمع کردید. اختاپوسی را درک کردم که تلاش می‌کند هژمونی خود را به دنیا اعمال کند، مانند رژیم ایران. این اختاپوس که با بازوهایش گسترده است، به دیگر دیکتاتورها کمک می‌کند. 30 سال پیش انفجار بزرگی در آمیا رخ داد. کی پشت آن بود؟ احمد وحیدی در ایران. رژیم تلاش می‌کند نیروهای مخالف را در خارج ترور کند، مانند آنچه برای آقای ویدال کوادراس رخ داد. اخیراً یک نمایش و یک سیرک مضحک انتخابات در ایران اتفاق افتاده است. انتخابات و دیکتاتوری دو موضوع متضاد هستند. وقتی کمتر از 10% مردم در یک انتخابات شرکت می‌کنند، این انتخابات نیست، این دیکتاتوری است. در ایران یک اپوزیسیون قدرتمند داریم. شما یک طرح 10 ماده‌ای دارید.
این برنامه گفتگوی کوتاهی است با پرزیدنت خورخه فرناندو کیروگا رامیرز.
بینندگان عزیز سیمای آزادی، هم‌میهنان گرامی، همراه شما هستیم با آقای خورخه کیروگا، رئیس جمهور پیشین بولیوی که امروز در دومین روز اجلاس جهانی ایران آزاد سخنرانی کردند و حمایت خودشون رو از مردم و مقاومت ایران اعلام کردند. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for accepting to do this interview with Simay Azadi. It's such a pleasure for us. Tell us, for years that the international community adopted an appeasement policy toward the Iranian regime, and that we had the very bad effects following that policy for the Iranian people and negatively impacting their lives and their resistance movement. What do you think is the right policy, and why do we hear from the speakers today that the appeasement policies era has ended?
I think because for the simple reason that appeasement has proven to be an unabated failure. All these regimes that have seized power for decades, they learned to play the long game, to wait out democracies in Europe and the United States, to swap hostages for criminals, to wait out and pretend they have charades and masquerades that are not really democratic elections. What we need from the international community is less appeasement and more clarity. Iran is going through a process right now that I cannot ever use the word election associated with it. It's an authoritarian appointment, a dictatorial designation. It's whoever the heck the Ayatollahs want to keep in power. And the world accepts the charade, and they pretend that one of the candidates is a conservative, the other one is a reformist. to find a reformist approved by the Ayatollah is an oxymoron. It's a complete falsehood. It cannot happen. And those bad examples, when you appease and pretend that Iran is having elections, it's easy to take that to other places and accept it.
So you just spoke about the elections, as we call it, the masquerade in Iran, or the sham elections in other dictatorial regimes. So let's say in Iran right now, yesterday the regime held its sham presidential election with nearly 8% of population participating in that election, that sham election. What message does that send to the international community regarding the Iranian regime's status in Iran?
Well, it shows you that it's completely illegitimate. The regime, like in the last parliamentary elections, advertised that last Friday there was 40% participation. Everybody knows those numbers are a quarter of that. The participation is a lot lower than that. People here have expressed or shown data that shows that only 12% participated. How can you call that an electoral exercise? Here we're at a beautiful auditorium. Just imagine you have 10 people sitting. One person is singing and 9 are sleeping. Would you call that a party? Would you call that an electoral festivity? Would you call that a democratic exercise? Or would you call that a democracy that is going to sleep, that is being buried because the people's will is not listened to in free and fair elections? You cannot claim to have legitimacy when roughly 1 out of every 10 people is coming out to vote for whoever the Ayatollah approves. How can it be democratic that to run for office you have to be approved by a council? That is a charade of democracy. That is an authoritarian appointment or a dictatorial coronation for whoever is the servile puppet of whoever the Ayatollah wants him to pretend has been elected by the people, when in reality they are a stooge or a puppet of the Ayatollah who's got the real power, and they have had the real power since 1979 without democratic will being expressed freely in the ballot box, and it's time to stand up and say that. Now, having said that, the tentacles of Iran reach into South America, in the Triple Frontier in Paraguay, Uruguay, in Venezuela and Cuba. They are there.
Thank you very much. So if you have any message for the Iranian people, especially the members of the MEK's resistance units and youth and women, please tell them by speaking to the camera.
Well, to the MEK admirable people that do the resistance, I salute and I pay my tribute to your courage. I know how difficult it is to fight a dictatorship that is willing to jail, to kill you, not only inside of Iran, to exile you outside of Iran, like when they shot Vidal Quadras on the streets of Spain. That's how ruthless these regimes are. So I understand and I value the amazing courage that it takes for you to stand up and fight for democracy in your country. Keep on the struggle, and do not ever forget that Nelson Mandela, who was at it for a long, long time in South Africa, once said, "Everything seems impossible until it gets done." It may seem difficult. It may seem even impossible to have a free Iran, but you and your fight for it will be able to get it and deliver it, a free Iran.